Hey everyone, Sensei Johnston here. So today I've put this video together just for the black belts for Boundless. Okay, so this is just for you guys. I want to cover some different topics, including the curriculum and some of the things we're going through, as well as Shisoshin kata, things for you guys to work on, stuff of that nature. But again, this video is again just for you guys. On a side note, as you guys know, I'm away, I'm traveling a lot, and what I'd like to do is start putting more of these videos together for you guys to give you guys, things to think about, things to work on, right? And just general kind of information and tips and just value for you guys as well. But if there's anything you guys have questions on, if you want me to do a video on a specific topic, if you have katas you want me to review, please feel free to reach out to me, because we can either set up a Zoom together and I can review your katas that way. You could record your katas on video, send it to me, and I can evaluate them and give you things to work on, give you guys feedback. Whatever the case, please, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you guys out with any of that stuff. Moving along to just notes, thoughts on the curriculum. And this is some of the process that I've been going through for the last, well, I suppose many years. But now I know some of the black belts watching this are instructors and some of them aren't. But if anybody asks you about the curriculum, hey, what's with the curriculum? Why are we changing the katas or anything like that? The shortest, simplest answer you can give is just to make things easier, right? We're just simplifying things to make things easier. And for them, it might not seem that way. And perhaps for you guys, it might not seem that way. Because like, oh, well, I have to learn a new kata, or, oh, my kata changed. How is this simpler? It is just to kind of keep everything standardized and together. And that way we're not confusing the katas. And I say confusing as a big thing. So I've gone through this journey myself through my training through the AMA. There was always multiple versions of the same kata. No different than how we've done it over the years. There's a Q belt version of certain katas and then black belt versions of certain katas. And then through my own training with the AMA, I would learn a version of Shisoshin at black belt, and then I learned a second version of Shisoshin at Nidan, and then I learned a third version of Shisoshin at Sandan. And for myself, in their own way, they all had different value. I trained those versions, and they had different values and different things you could learn from doing those katas in different ways. And I always enjoyed it. But as you go down the rabbit hole with these things, it gets to be more and more difficult, because now 4 versions of a kata, and when you're going into the classroom, it's like, okay, what kata are we, or what version are we teaching today? Now, that kind of thing gets amplified in the classroom and at the dojos when you take into account the things like broken telephone. And I'm sure you guys have all played broken telephone or seen it played before, where one person tells another person something and they go down the line, and by the time you get to the end, it's something completely different. Imagine that with kata, because kata is, again, very complex, lots of moves. All it takes is for one person to not remember things right, or they haven't trained it in a while, they start teaching somebody else. And pretty soon everything starts to get mixed up, and that's even with one version of the kata. Now you can imagine how much that would be amplified if you have several versions of a kata, and now people are getting them all kind of intertwined. It really then just looks like a web of mess at the end of the day. But for myself, for my own journey, as I was going through this stuff, just so that I'm just sharing this stuff for you guys, so that you guys know. I started training under Sensei Enfield in 2021, and if you notice, we're not really rolling some of this stuff out now until 2024. And this is a learning lesson I want you guys to hear and to understand as well, right? So when I started learning all of the katas, and again, I know all the katas, I'm just learning a new version. I did not turn around the next day and teach those katas, right? I didn't teach Gekisai Daiichi the next day, right? Or even the next year, right? It took a little while before I'd start handing them all out. And not because I'm restricting the information, it's because it takes time to get to really, really know something well, and you don't know the finer details, and you don't know what you don't know until you've trained it for years and for like a long time. I do want you to reflect on yourself for that stuff. As a general rule in the martial arts, we don't teach kata to anybody if it's not their belt level, and we don't teach like curriculum to stuff if it's not their belt level. It's like a written rule that you just don't do it unless you've had permission from your sensei to kind of go and do that. And why is that? Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. One, that student is not ready to learn, whatever that kata is until they've put in like a lot of time to kind of get to that point, and they can understand the basic concepts first. Second, you might not understand that same kata. Just because you know the kata, the question is, how well do you know the kata? Have you known it for a year, right? How much in depth do you know it? Did you learn it last week, right? And I've seen students do this as well, where they'll learn a kata and then the next day, turn around and try and teach it to a student. And they don't even know it that well. And so you can, again, the broken telephone example, you can just see how things are gonna start to break down and break down fast, and the quality of things will break down fast. So I want you guys in your own training to be super duper careful. Don't be trying to teach all of this stuff to other people. It's just not warranted. They're not gonna learn it properly, and you yourself probably don't know it properly yet either. So just be really careful with that stuff. Take the time. You have to really, really know your foundations, and then find out if it's an appropriate time for a student to learn something, right? If you're ever unsure, right? These are always good rules of thumb, right? As we go through things. Even for myself, I try and be as humble as I can with it. I'm still learning and I'm still growing through all these katas, even though I've been doing them for years. I mean, I've tested on all these katas for my Godan, going through all the information. And I'm still working on refining them, making them better. I still do my lessons where I evaluate my katas every single week with my sensei, right? So just going through all that stuff, just make sure that you guys are working hard, taking the time, and not trying to rush the process. Now, if anybody is going through the process, you guys have all been at your black belts, maybe a short time, maybe a long time. No different than the Q belts. We will take in all of this into consideration when everybody ends up grading for their next belt. We know how long if you've been 1 year at the old curriculum and 1 year at the new curriculum, or whatever the case may be, we're understanding with all that stuff, okay? So I hope all of that makes sense. Okay, Shisoshin kata. Now, most of you guys have been through the Japanese version, but not the Okinawan version of Shisoshin. So the other day, what I had Senpai do is I had him take a quick video of himself and the students in Cambridge, just doing the kata once through, just for an evaluation. And so I could see the way everybody was doing Shisoshin kata, and again, everyone was kind of doing the Japanese version. But even with that, there is like some things that are kind of mixed together. Now, with the Shisoshin kata, we're really lucky where most of the moves, are pretty much the same in both versions. But even in that video that I watched, I saw, 17 different things that needed, correction or changed throughout that video that I watched. And that's not even getting into biomechanics of the techniques. That's just like how things, the basic kind of movements of things, right? So what I want to do is take you through the beginning of Shisoshin kata, right? The Okinawan version, so that you guys have a little bit of a grounding and place to work from. And then I'm going to be giving I've always been giving Senpai the curriculum every single week, right? So very specifically, work this. I know last week you guys didn't get through everything because I just gave him so much stuff for you guys to work on. But Shisoshin will be a project amongst all the other projects. Hopefully you guys are still working on your Gekisai Daiichi ni Saifa Syuchin and getting those into your blood a little bit. But let's move on. Okay. So a few things right off the bat, right? So onigashimasu, we're here in this position. Now, a note on this position. With the Okinawan versions, with everything being based on Sanshin, we want to have our armpits tight and our elbows closer to our body, right? So that if I were to bring my arms up, I'd be in that Sanshin position. So we don't want to have it out here, right? And that might seem like a small thing, but it is something to watch out for. Okay, because again, Japanese version, we can be out here and this is fine, right? But not for Okinawan version, it's very specific. We're in here, we're tighter, right? And then just like Sanshin, when we open up, or all these katas where we open up in the Sanshin way, they cross and they come out, right? So I would step forwards, right? And they would cross like Sanshin. The reason I bring that up is because I did see some students folding it like this in some way, shape, or form, and that's incorrect. And so we're gonna bring it out, keeping elbows tight. Now, one thing that's nice is that our hands are already open, so we don't have to worry about any of this stuff where our hands pop open. They're already going to be open. Okay, our elbows are in that Sanshin position, and the angle here, it's not sideways, it's not that, it's going to be in between. So we're going to have that in between angle on our hands. Okay. From there, for the move, we're going to pull our elbow down and back, and because these are on an angle, they're a little bit sideways, they're going to stay that way to the body. They're not going to be this way, right? So I saw in the video, most people were this way, but we're going to be this way, okay? We want to think elbow down and back. We definitely don't want to have it flared out, okay? And then when this comes forwards, it's going to come forwards. All right, I need to make sure this fits in the camera here. It's going to come forwards, similar to before, right? We hit and then we pop it back into position, okay? But we just want to make sure that this is sliding this way along our body, elbow is down and back, right? We're not pointing with our fingers, right? If anything, you want to think of it more like a like a ridge hand position, like that, where you'd be coming out that way, and then we go through, and then it pulls back. Everyone was doing a nice job with the strike and the pullback in the video that I watched, right? But I'm just providing a little bit of extra detail for you guys for today. So that gives you a base to start with, right? Start it with a Japanese opening. Arms are not out, they're down, they're closer. They're opening this way, everything is tight, pulling it back in this fashion towards your body, right? Yes, you shoot, right? And having this up a little bit, it's gonna come down and then pull back again, okay? So that gives you, a few things to work on for that Shisoshin kata. I'm gonna give lots more details to Senpai so that you guys can work through it. Just so you guys know, this kata is a requirement for our brown belts now, as part of their requirements to get their next belt, right? So I know it might take a little bit of time for you guys to learn it and embody it, and that's fine, that's okay. Feel free to do that, right? And then pass it along to the students as we go. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If you guys want more information or want to touch base with me, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to talk to all you guys and help you guys out as best I can. I will be coming back and seeing you guys again real soon. So I'll see you soon.